we really need to have a little bit of discussion about dreams, right? It's very important because Yusuf alayhi salam's experience with dreams is very profound and phenomenal, really. And a lot of Surah Yusuf, quite a bit of it, deals with how he interpreted dreams later on as well. Okay. And this is a topic which sometimes we find super interesting and we get all kinds of information from here and there, and we're not quite sure what is the correct sort of Islamic view on that, to put it this way. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that nothing has been left of Nabuwa. We know that after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's going to be no prophet, period. Right? It's over and done with. He is the last prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he is saying himself that nothing is left of Nabuwa except mubashirat, right? Mubashirat. And somebody asked him that, Ya Rasulullah, what is mubashirat? So he said, it is a dream that you see. And he specifically said that you might be in it, or somebody sees a dream with you in it. Okay? That's what he said. So that is either you or somebody else sees you in it. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that there are many ahadith related to dreams. Yeah. So Rasulullah, I'm not going to quote all of them over here, but whatever information is gathered over here is based on that, right? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that good dreams come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bad dreams come from shaitan. If anyone sees a bad dream that scares him, let him spit dryly to his left and seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from its evil, then it will do him no harm. Okay. So from various different ahadith, we find out that there are actually 3 types of dreams that human beings can experience, right? And everybody actually dreams. Everybody dreams. Do you guys generally remember your dreams? Not always. Mostly you do remember? Acha, okay, that's interesting. Because let's see what the 3 categories of dreams are. Yeah, okay. There are dreams from our imagination, right? Which is called hadithul nafs. I think this imagination has gone from here because of the font problem over here today. But hadithul nafs is something which is from our imagination. This is from us, from our own nafs, from our own mind, from our own, from our own thinking, right? And the other type is called hulm, which is a nightmare, what we call nightmare. And the third type of dreams, which are called either mubasharat or ru'ya as well. From look, see, ra'a means to see. Ru'ya, these are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are 3 different types of dreams. So scholars say that you have nafsiyati dreams from your own nafs. Then you have shaitani dreams, which are those nightmares. And then you have ruhani dreams, which are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is how they kind of categorize it, right? Now the prophets don't get the other 2 types of dreams, yani nightmares or hadith or nafs. They only get dreams from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are part of the wahi that they have from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So Allah has protected the prophets, all of the prophets, from the dreams from shaitan. Yeah, that is a special protection given to the chosen people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every time a prophet sees a dream, it is a revelation and it is a wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We have already seen that in the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam. If those of you who know the story of Ibrahim a little bit, Ibrahim alayhi salam saw a dream that he was slaughtering his son. That was a dream. And that was something which was absolutely 100% true, right? So it is possible that regular people, non-prophets, get a dream which is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is very much possible. So it is not exclusively for the prophets. It is possible, but it is very rare. Let's put it this way as well. Because we love to talk about dreams and all, so we are like, oh, bas aaj to Allah se hi baat ho gayi. So we need to be very careful for ourselves or for other people, because this is another one of those topics which is, now if I say it in Urdu, these 2 people are going to be offended, but there is no other way to explain this chaska topic. It's like indulgent addiction. right? So we like to do that. We like to kind of think too much of the dreams and make all kinds of ta'weels, interpretations, right? So when we get this clarified, inshallah ta'ala, we will see what it's all about. So hadith al-nafs, the first category, if you want to talk about that. If, for example, you want a very fancy car, right? Or you're dreaming about a holiday, right? Or you're making plans about something, or you are having your exams. These days, a lot of kids are having exams time. So you might go to sleep and you will be having that kind of dream. So that is from your nafs. That is one way that this is hadithul nafs, your imagination. Sometimes people say that if you watch certain types of movies, yeah, and if you watch certain types of stuff, you dream about it. Yeah? You become that Disney princess. That is from your nafs, from your own imagination. Right? That's got nothing to do with shaitan or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, everything has got something to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but that is basically a dream from your nafs. And there are actually special groups of scientists who are studying dreams. Yeah, it's so cool to know that there's a group of people who say, I sleep on the job, and they're getting paid for it. So they literally do that. So what they say is that there is a phase in our sleep which is called the REM phase, rapid eye movement phase, and that is when everybody dreams at that stage of your sleep. Yeah, and the signs of this dream are that when you wake up, it is absolutely fresh, but then it kind of melts away. Then it doesn't stay, right? So this is an indication that this is from your imagination. It could stay a little bit, but it doesn't kind of persist. A lot of times people say, no, I don't remember what I dreamt about. Yeah. And external impulses also affect this type of dream. So if somebody throws water at you, you might dream that you're drowning. Somebody is yeah, it happens, right? Somebody is waking you up, your alarm clock goes off for Fajr. And you have this thing in your head, whatever. So it feels like somebody is calling you or something is going on. Yes. Have any of you had anesthesia for any kind of a surgery or something? The same kind of feeling you have when you're coming out of it. Almost, you can hear like a voice is coming from a tunnel kind of a thing. So there are external impulses which do affect these kind of dreams, and that is perfectly okay. That's not something. Sometimes if you have experienced that and you feel, oh my God, I think a jinn is after me. No, this happens to everybody. Yeah, it's okay, right? So it is something which is very normal. It is something that all human beings experience. Okay? And this type of dream has nothing to do with good or bad. It is just your imagination. And the sign is that you don't remember it at all, right? Okay. Then the other kind, hulm, which we call nightmare in English, or an evil dream, this type of dream is 100% from shaitan, right? It is from shaitan. So the sign of this dream is that it terrifies you. You're very scared. That's why it's a nightmare. Yeah. And a lot of times there are scholars who say that, these horror movies that you see and that they make, a lot of it is based on truth actually. And they kind of obviously exaggerated to the hilt and whatever, but these are human experiences with nightmares or with jinn that have been, kind of made into celluloid, whatever fantasy. And they add elements of fantasy to it as well, obviously. So it's not like 100% true. Yeah. So you see something evil or something disgusting. It could be both. For example, you see that a loved one or you yourself have died a miserable death. You see somebody being tortured, right? Or you see yourself being chased by something evil or aliens or, like these. And people love to talk about these dreams. So I'm not even going to ask you whether you've had a dream like that or not, because it is from shaitan, right? These kind of dreams. And what scholars tell us is, based on what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, was that this is basically shayateen simply making a fool out of you, irritating you, getting the best out of you, kind of, so to speak. They're playing a practical joke on you, right? Why? Simply because you're human. And this could happen to believers and non-believers. It's not exclusively just for Muslims. It could happen to any human being, right? These types of dreams, and you can underline that if you want, are never ever true. They're not true. So there's no point in dwelling upon them that, oh my God, I saw my child, being horribly mutilated or something. Now, may Allah protect us. And then you get all paranoid and you're like, oh my God, now I need to go to some soothsayer to find me some kind of a taweez to protect my child. It actually works out to, if you go around that route, then that's where it leads you to all kinds of practices which are completely outside of the Sharia and completely which are negated and prohibited by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is why it is important to talk about it. That these dreams are not true. This is shaitan messing you up, messing your head up, right? And nobody should believe these dreams. Nobody should believe these nightmares. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam categorically said, you should not tell your nightmare to anybody. Don't talk about it. Yeah. If you see an evil dream, why? Because shaitan is fooling with you. Don't say it to anybody. Once a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, I saw my head cut off in a dream and it was rolling like a ball and I'm running after it to pick it up. Yeah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't tell other people. Shaitan has played a trick on you last night and he's laughing at you right now because you're relating it. So don't let him get the better of you. Yeah. And what is the sign of this dream? That you wake up terrified or you're sweating and you wake up. And it happens, actually. It does happen that you're like terrified and you can't sometimes even explain it. That why did I wake up in the middle of the night all sweaty and your mouth is dry and you have physical signs of that nightmare on you as well, right? So another type of dream which is from shaitan is something which is known as ihtilam in the Arabic in Arabic, which we call in English a wet dream, right? So if you have that, and that is something which men and women both have, and there is a hadith where the Sahabi, lady Sahabi, she goes to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala an to ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about a wet dream. Yeah. And one little thing before I continue is that we watch all kinds of trash and rubbish on television or on our thing. Even in social media, we have all kinds of weird stuff, right? And when it comes to very important things in our deen, like for example, I'm talking about a wet dream, you're like, astaghfirullah, haram. It's something, no, that is a tendency. We're never going to tell our children about it. Oh my God. So they can get all kinds of education or all kinds of information from somewhere else. This is an important part of our deen, and I'll tell you why. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to her, yes, women also have wet dreams. And when you do and get up, you need to take ghusl. That is the important part of it, na? That you need to take ghusl, you need to have this purification, right? And it is something which is not your fault because it does happen to people. One thinks that it only happens to guys. No, it happens to women as well. And what you do is any dream of a vulgar nature where you feel that some discharge has happened, you need to take ghusl. That is the ruling, the fiqh ruling on it, right? Very, very important, right? And the dream is from shaitan. And there is no sin on you because you do not control your dreams. When you are in a state of unwakefulness, then your faculties are not in your control. That is from shaitan, right? But one must understand that why is it that it is so important to be careful about what you watch, what you hear, what you say, right? Because these are all the places where ideas, information, stuff goes inside of us, right? And whatever is inside of us is something either which is attractive to shaitan or something which is repulsive to shaitan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that shaitan puts his mouth, kind of so to speak, in the heart of a believer. If he sees Allah or the dhikr of Allah, he goes away. And if he doesn't, then he comes and sits there. So then he's controlling you, right? So he's controlling you in a lot of ways because you're allowing him that access. You allow the access. He can't come forcefully, right? You allow that access. But important point for us is that if you do have a wet dream, then and you see discharge, then you must take ghusl, right? Um, None of the prophets, of course, had ihtilam simply because they were protected from shaitan by special mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Scholars say that a lot of people go through this. So this is nothing to feel a issue about that, oh my God, I'm a dirty person or I'm so sinful, that kind of thing. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you should ask for it as well or wish that, acha, so maybe that should, I haven't experienced that. And I'm serious because sometimes people want to have all kinds of experiences. So if you haven't, alhamdulillah, no problem. Also, if you wake up in the middle of the night, freezing cold, that is also from shaitan. Sometimes you wake up sweating. Sometimes you wake up freezing cold in say cold weather. That can also happen. Yeah. So this is another type of evil dream. Once again, we don't tell people about it. We simply do ghusl, right? Seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't tell people about it, right? Achha ji. Let me see if I have. Now, the dreams from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are of two types, right? Actual events or symbolic. We see that the dream Yusuf alayhi salam has just had, is it actual event or symbolic? It's symbolic, right? He's seeing stars and sun and moon and all. And a lot of, later on as well, we will see in Surah Yusuf that he's going to have a symbolic dream. And this vision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this mubashara from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or ruya from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never cause you to wake up frightened. It's not a scary dream at all, right? You will not wake up terrified or else it would not be a mubashara. So, and mubashir as it is from bashir, which means glad tidings. Bashara, glad tidings. Yeah. Even if it is positive, it is a factual statement. And sometimes it might not be 100% positive, but it is not like a scary dream. That's also important to understand. It might be not positive, but it will not be terrifying you at all. So you will wake up and remember a dream vividly. So it is not hadithul nafs, right? You will wake up in a terrified state. That is hulm, a nightmare. If these two conditions are met, then it is very possible and likely, are not met, then it is possible and likely that it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you can again not tell 100% people like us. Yeah. Sometimes you wake up in a very neutral state. You're neither scared nor feeling very happy or joyous or whatever. So that can also be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from shaitan. So dreams that are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could be like actual events that you actually see something. Like I just gave you the example of Ibrahim alayhi salam, right? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right before he got his nabuwa, for almost 6 months, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala narrates that he would see dreams every night and which would, the same thing would happen the next day, right? So those are like actual events. Even after he got his nabuwa, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw that he's going for Umrah, right? And he told his companions, let's go for Umrah. And then the Treaty of Hudaybiyah happened. Those of you who are familiar with Sirah would understand that. So that was a real event. That was something which was actual. And the other dreams can be symbolic, just like we talked about the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam. And even Ibrahim alayhi salam, he saw that he was slaughtering Ismail alayhi salam. Yeah. Okay. So what should we do if we have a bad dream? What should we do when we have a bad dream? You don't have to guess. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us a whole series of things that you can do if you have a nightmare. Seek refuge with Allah from the evil dream. Seek refuge with Allah from the evil of shaitan. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Spit on your left side 3 times, dry spit, like dry spit 3 times when you wake up or if you've woken up in the middle of the night, right? Change your position. Sometimes, we are like tossing and turning, and at the back of our minds, we are half awake and we are getting scared of something. Change your position, right? or get up, make wudu and pray 2 rakats, salah. Just literally get up from bed, make wudu, and don't mention it to anyone. So these are all of the very practical advices that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us in case we have nightmares, right? Now, dream interpretation is also something which is of great interest to people. So people are going to all kinds of different, I don't know, people claim that I can, just like people claim that I'll do istikhara for you, or I can look into the future. Another part of that is, they call themselves alim, and there are different names that are given to them, or some baba or whatever, that I can interpret your dream. That's absolute rubbish. The reason it is absolute rubbish is that oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to change this for you guys. Okay. The reason it is rubbish is because this knowledge is something which is specially from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not a knowledge that can be learned from one person to the other, right? Astronomy is something you can learn, right? But astronomy and astrology are completely different things. Don't mix them up, right? There are many things, like for example, Sheikh Yasir Qadhi, who's a very renowned scholar of our times, he said that I went to the University of Medina to do a proper, his whole Islamic course and all. So there are many, many subjects that are taught, many subjects, but there's no such thing as interpretation of dreams. So anybody who claims to be a religious scholar and says that let me interpret your dreams is absolutely false. One of the most famous works that people quote is this Ibn Sirin's Dictionary of Dreams. He was a scholar from the Tabi'een, yeah? And this is totally fabricated. The reason that we are mentioning it in class over here is because you might have heard of it, or you might have the possibility of hearing about it if you go and Google interpretation of dreams. This is absolutely fabricated, written around 700-800 years after his death by whoever, somebody, and claiming it to be his work. So this is really not true, right? So any book that you find, Dictionary of Interpreting Dreams, yeah, or whatever, you will find, and I'm talking about Islamic books also. So be very, very wary of that, because this is not a knowledge that is transferable from one person to the other, right? It is not a science that can be taught people to people, yeah? And these are, according to scholars, this is one of the few sciences that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala either blesses you with it or doesn't. So like Yusuf alayhi salam, one of the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him was what? This knowledge of interpretation of dreams. And even people in our dunya, in our time, might do that, might have the capability of doing that. And how are you going to know that? Just by experience, actually. No other way can you find out. There's no degree for it or anything. So there is this incident that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a dream and he told it to the people, right? And please remember that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was who? He was a teacher also, right? He was the teacher of the Sahaba as well. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an raised his hand and said, Ya Rasulullah, I beg you by Allah to let me interpret this dream for you. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, okay, go ahead and interpret it. Abu Bakr took every symbol and said, this means this, and this means this, and this means this, and then asked, Ya Rasulullah, am I right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you are right in some, and you are wrong in others. And this is an authentic hadith in Bukhari. So this is not something that we can doubt. So if somebody of that stature of Iman and Taqwa, like Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an, was messed up kind of in the interpretation of dream. So how can regular people think that they can claim that I can interpret a dream, particularly in our age, right? And the reason that we are spending time and talking about this is because this is also something that is used by certain very dodgy people claiming to be religious to actually draw people into their circle, and then then they ask money for it, and then once you are in it, then there's no end to the thing.